welcome back to Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports, our live show every single day. Yes, lots of questions still remain after that second preseason game, but again, I caution you not to put too much stock into it. However, we have to put some stock into it, and we have to take away some things from the preseason and how this is all developing and transpiring for your Pittsburgh Steelers as they continue to march toward this season. There are still a lot of question marks along that offensive line, a lot of things that you've seen that aren't so good, maybe some things that are good, and then you look at the quarterback play and you ask yourself, who would you want to go with here? And then you got to weigh out whether or not this offensive system that you're seeing right now is the one you'll see in the regular system because of how desperate that these offensive coordinators are of not wanting to show their hand here in the preseason. So a ton of stuff that needs to be taken into consideration when you're trying to break down preseason football and how this is all going. So we'll take a deep dive into it as much as humanly possible. But again, we will go off the chat, answer some of the comments, questions, and concerns that you may have here as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and we'll try to dissect and decipher all of this stuff that's going on currently right now with this team. Let me get into the chat. Miss Pittsburgh, what's up? Appreciate it. Wave that flag. Lucas Cool Boy 78. Brandon Ayuk, a Steeler. No, not yet. Maybe not for a while, if ever. I don't know. I've been waiting for what the hell is going on with that. Yeah, who knows? There's not a lot to report on that. There is a report that the Pittsburgh Steelers offered, that the San Francisco 49ers offered around a $30 million average salary per season for Brandon Ayuk, and that offer is currently on the table. Hasn't been accepted. I don't believe so, and I think the saga still continues here for Brandon Ayuk and the San Francisco 49ers, and the Steelers are just patiently waiting on how this all goes down. Now, there are some other wide receivers out there that would make sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers that perhaps could be affordable and could still get this wide receiver room that boost it needs. Are you comfortable with what is in that wide receiver room right now? That is a question that you have to ask yourself. There's also some names being thrown around that people may be just grabbing for straws and not really looking at it in depth to where you have a full understanding of what that player might bring or not bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers roster. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of where they want to be with that wide receiver room. The quarterback play has to be better. The offensive line play has to be better. We'll dive into that too here. What's up, Justin? I'll catch up on the chat. What's up, George T, TD? Robert wrote, if Broderick Jones has an elbow injury, why the hell is he playing? Why is he playing out of position as well? Put Broderick on the left when he is healthy. I firmly believe that also, Robert, and couldn't agree more with your comment there. If I'm the Steelers and I have a second-year guy in Broderick Jones and I notice that he has any sort of injury, and I got to see him play last year, I got to see him throughout the camp period this whole summer. I'm going to sit him out. I don't think there's any real significance for him to be playing ball right now. And if he has that elbow injury, put his ass and sit him down, man. And that's just what it needs to be. And again, why is he playing out of position? I still can't answer that question. I think it has a lot to do with Troy Fautanu's injury, that knee injury, and how long that will go on. But they're just not willing to put Dan Moore Jr. over there. Sadly, if you really look at how this preseason has went, if you grade out each offensive lineman's performance so far, you're going to find that Dan Moore Jr. has actually had the best preseason so far statistically, if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers line group as a whole. And that might not be a very good sign if you're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, considering James Daniels is an issue so far this preseason. Broderick Jones has been an issue. And if you were to ask yourself before this training camp period, before this preseason really kicked off, who were going to be the two worst performers on the offensive line, you wouldn't have said James Daniels and Broderick Jones. You wouldn't have went there. And I don't understand some of the things that the Pittsburgh Steelers do. Again, maybe that's why I don't get paid the big bucks, but common sense would tell me an injured man needs to be sat down and allow him to get healthy before you want to continually put him out there into bad situations to, one, potentially injure himself a little bit further and maybe become a real issue throughout the regular season, and two, destroy a young man's confidence in his second year as a NFL professional. Miss Pittsburgh, I tell you what, they are really, really making me nervous. Yeah, they definitely are going to be striking a nerve with you if you've watched this team. You watched 4 quarters of football last week or on Saturday, and you did not see a touchdown. You saw some Chris Boswell field goals. You actually saw a missed Chris Boswell field goal. But should you be overly concerned about this offense right now? I don't know about overly. I don't know about really getting super worried right now, but there are some issues and they have to be figured out. And we'll dive into some of those issues as we continue through the show. Miss Pittsburgh, whatever it is, I hope they get it together before showtime. Let's go Steelers. Absolutely. Miss Pittsburgh, I like the emojis. What's up, Big Dave? Big Dave Elliott, my buddy there. What's up, my friend? Lucas Cool Boy 78. What's up, George T? Here we go. Absolutely. I think so, Lucas. I think I remember you. Joshua Shields, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Steelers Nation. What's up? Yeah, Lucas, I try to remember everybody, bro. Last month, throughout shorts, lives, and regular videos, we had like 90,000 views, I think. So it sometimes gets rough, really rough. But I really try to remember as many as I can. I'm hoping Broderick Jones is all right. Yeah, me too. What's up, Mark Malone? Retarding Fooked up, letting Mason go. That was the number one debacle of the offseason. Does anyone think Tennessee would trade us, Mason, for Russ and Buston? They're not good. You can't get Mason back right now. He's going to be the second string quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, and I look for him by the end of the year to probably be the starter. Mason was a guy that finally had transitioned to the portion of his career to where he was able to provide solid NFL quarterback play, being patient in the pocket, understanding defenses, being able to get through his progressions, anticipation, processing ability was getting to be top shelf. He had just started to hit his stride, and if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think you really mismanaged that situation in terms of what you did there. I understand you wanted to start fresh, but I think you started to find something in Mason Rudolph. Still had a big arm, able to push the ball down the field, and was really starting to understand the game at the pro level. And I think that takes a lot of years sometimes for people or for players to understand at the quarterback position to get to that point. I think the Steelers allowed him and worked with him enough that he did get to that point and just pushed him to the back burner and weren't willing to continue doing business with him. And I'm not sure why. I'm a little bit puzzled by it because I thought that the way he played in those final 4 games at least deserved to be the second string guy in 2024 to whomever they brought in, or at least get a chance at starting and leading this franchise and seeing what he can do. What's the worst that could have happened? That he bust? That he sucked? I mean, you'd have been in the same place I think you are right now. Yes, you have some quarterbacks that have some athleticism, guys. But I've got to caution you, too, on Justin Fields' performance. It was subpar. And please don't try to come at me with, oh, he did this, he did that. Yes, he is a freak athlete. I understand that. I agree. 1,000%. But the guy still has some issues processing the defense. And they're not just some issues, they're major issues. He was actually going against defenses in which there's some second and third, fourth string guys out there at times. You just can't. Did he have some great plays? Absolutely. But for the majority, for the most part, horrible. Now, that one throw in the end zone where there should have been a touchdown, I can't even remember the wide receiver's name, that missed that. That wasn't a Justin problem. That was a wide receiver problem. The guy stopped. And I said that as soon as it happened, I said the guy stopped. And you teach everyone from a super young super young in their NFL, or correction, in their football careers, in their football path, that when you're running a route, you never stop because quarterbacks are anticipating where you are going to be. At least that's what they're supposed to be doing. They are leading you. They are anticipating where you are going to end up, and they are trying to put the trajectory of the ball into that spot. And you don't stop. When you stop, you create issues, and you have to run through your route. And he stopped. And that was a wide receiver problem there. That wasn't a Justin Fields issue, guys, and I will give him credit for that. But if you look at his overall performance, you're going to have to give a little bit of that to the offensive line with the poor play. I mean, it just has been poor. It hasn't been good. There's a lot of variables at play here with Justin, but I can't get on the board that he should be the week one starter because I just haven't seen enough from him to say that he has beaten out Russ, and I haven't seen enough from Russ to say that he should be the definitive starter. So I find myself in a real predicament when I'm trying to figure out who should be the guy going into week one. I really do, and I'm not sure how anybody could give you a definitive answer on that. And I just think that there's still too many question marks that remain. And I think this third preseason game, I know you usually sit down the guys that you want to be starters that are going to be going into week one as your guys. But I think in this preseason game, this third preseason game, you need to see, a quarter and a half from Russell Wilson. And I think you need to see Justin Fields finish whatever Russ doesn't do. I don't give a shit to see Kyle Allen. I don't give a shit to see John Rice Plumlee do anything other than return kicks at this point. It's just where we're at with it. Let them guys figure it out and go to war. And whoever comes out of that preseason game showing that they are ready for 2024 opening day, then roll with it. I guess that's where you're at currently with this quarterback position in my eyes. What's the worst that could happen? Russ sits on the bench for 1.3 million almost. It's like 1.275, something like that. You allow him to sit on the bench at that price. I don't give a shit. Sit down. But here's the thing that you got to realize when you're dealing with these quarterbacks, guys, and I'm going to get off this soapbox here, and I'll get back to the chat here in a second. But when you look at these quarterbacks and you look at which one is going to be able to overcome the most adversity, and that's naturally going to lead you to Russell Wilson. So if you were to start Russell Wilson and pull him eventually for Justin Fields, I think that may be a little bit better path to take. And I say that because I think Russ will be able to handle himself just a little bit better because he's been in the league and he's been able to go through all this turmoil and craziness of the NFL for so many years. So maybe that's the way you lean. If you're going to give anybody the edge right now, that would be my edge, sadly. Yes, again, Justin Fields is a superior athlete. He's a monster athlete. And I hear people saying, he's like Lamar. He's like Lamar. He can do things. I don't want Lamar. I don't. I don't want a running quarterback, guys. I don't. I don't want a runner. Not a run-first guy. I want a guy that can run. No, don't get me wrong. But I don't want a guy that's constantly looking to run first. I don't want that. And I think Justin has fixed a little bit of that this year. I think that he has tried to throw the ball down the field. I think that he's tried to look for the receiver first. So I'll give him credit there too. But man, it's got to be a really tough decision inside that building right now. It has to be. It has to be a really, really difficult situation in which the Pittsburgh Steelers are in right now in terms of quarterback play, in terms of offensive line play, and some injuries that have occurred there. You look at Nate Herbig, torn rotator cuff. That puts him out, for the rest of the season? I don't know. I'm no doctor. I can't remember exactly what they said the time frame would be there. But that's a significant injury. You're going to miss significant amounts of time. Now, where does that put you as the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of depth? You look at Spencer Anderson, Dylan Cook guys, Mason McCormick, those types of guys that perhaps can, fill in that depth role that you're going to need these guys to step up into. And are they seasoned enough to be those types of guys? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. A lot of questions, guys. A lot of questions remain with this team. And again, you are not seeing the full image of the Pittsburgh Steelers of 2024 right now. And you know why. They're not trying to give it away. And I've warned you about that for a long time. You don't want to show your hand as a team in the preseason. I felt like they did last year. That's why they did so well. But man, it is what it is. I like. Oh, sorry. Like the emojis. Thanks, Miss Pittsburgh. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Not much, Dave. Just doing the show, coaching football, doing a bunch of shit, man. Thank you, Miss Pittsburgh. I am concerned about the quarterback. Me too. Rob Lightfoot, our punter, looks amazing. He does, Rob. He does. He does. That's been one of the shining points of all this. Matt Burton again this year looks like the O line is going to suck. I need to look at the coaching if this continues. Um, I've seen some people go hard on Pat Meyer. I've seen some people defend Pat Meyer and say that it's not his fault. I've seen it both ways. My take on it is that there has to be something. There has to be a common factor in all of this because you've completely changed a lot of your personnel. You've revamped this offensive line in several locations. There's a lot of young talent. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue. But you got some second-year guys that aren't performing up to snuff. You have some veteran guys, i.e. James Daniels, that's not performing up to snuff just yet. So where does the common factor lie in the poor performances? You saw Pat Meyer be hired in February of 2022. I believe February 15th of 2022, the Pittsburgh Steelers hired Pat Meyer as their offensive line coach. And since that time, have you seen this unit as a whole really come together for long stretches of time? I would say no, in my eyes. Now, have you seen them have moments of success? Yes, but you've not seen it consistently be good. You've not seen it garnish consistency slowly but surely to where you're comfortable with what has been done. That's just my opinion. I may be wrong. I may be looking at things others aren't. I don't know, but it's just not. It's not jiving, man. It's not working. And Matt's right in his comment. It looks the same. It continues, and it's a problem. It's a real issue. And again, there has to be some sort of factor involved that's a common denominator. It's just what it is. David Elliott, who should the starting quarterback be? I'm not. Oh, it's tough, Dave. I mean, it's tough. You got to figure out what you're willing to lose and what you're willing to put out there on the line, in terms of confidence, in terms of maturity of the quarterback. You got two guys, and I think they're in a very tough spot right now. And like I said, I think it should be just left down to the final preseason game and allow them to go out there and prove who wants it most, who wants the job, and take it. That's just my theory. They should never or have never let Mason go. Matt Burton Fields is a good quarterback for Fridays and Saturdays, but that's it. Robert Road, I'd give Dylan Cook a full game at tackle to see what he can do in this last preseason game. I think you are, Robert, going to have to do some adjustments and allow some of these guys to get significant time to really get a good look at them. And some of them you're going to have to put maybe above where you normally put them on the depth chart just so you can see them against some top shelf talent, because preseason games, you don't get that luxury throughout the whole game. You're not going to be going against starters, Rob Lightfoot, Russell Wilson is already a winner for me. He got Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's one good thing. Absolutely. We'll give you that one, Rob. Mark Malone, this team could go places with Mason. Thanks, Tomlin. I think it was a Tomlin, a Kahn, a Weidel. I think it was all of them in that decision making. And they weren't able to get it done. Maybe Mason was asking for more than they were willing to give. I don't know. I don't know what the inner workings were of that situation, what was going on behind the scenes. But according to many people that I trust to have intimate knowledge of this football team, I don't even think an offer was extended, though. That's just my theory. I may be wrong there, too. Mason should have been the guy. Mark Malone offer Tennessee Russ. Bustin for Mason. Who are you talking about, Bustin? I'm not sure who you're talking about. There's so many guys on this team, I have no clue. I can't keep track, and honestly, I don't invest a lot of time into guys that I know won't be on the roster. You know what I mean? Let's see who you're talking about. Let me see. We'll see. We'll see if I can find it. Oh, look, Mark. Um, they're not. Who wants? Here's my thing: if you put Russell Wilson on the trade block, what are you telling other teams? You know what I mean? When you just got him, what kind of draft or what kind of value would he have to somebody else if you're already willing to part ways with him and you've not even played a season with him? That's where you're looking at that. So you're gonna have to look at value, and if you're gonna propose a trade, that's what you got to look at, the value of a player, and would it be worth somebody else picking him up? I'm trying to find out who you were talking about, though. I don't even know who it is. I'm sure if I see him, maybe I'll know. We'll keep looking. Mark Collins, Justin Fields played he exactly what the coaches asked him to do. You are just a hater. Facts. Did actually play quarterback, let alone football at any level above. Buddy, no offense, Mark Collins. If you're going to put a comment, you have to make it somewhat legible. I'm good at reading stupidese, but some comments are just so crazy and stupid that I can't decipher it. I think you might need like an English class or something, my friend. And I'm not trying to dog you or anything, but don't go on to public forums and make yourself look really foolish and stupid by typing that type of comment, bro, because I don't even know what you're saying. You call me a hater in that comment. I call myself a realist, and I understand that some Pittsburgh Steelers fans put the blinders on, and that's okay to allow your fandom to put blinders over your eyes to where you're not going to look at the real truth of this football team. And if you want to lie to yourself just to have hope, that's fine. That's cool. I'm down for it. That's your prerogative. But I'm not going to sit here as a podcast host or somebody that talks about the Pittsburgh Steelers and sit here and bullshit people that are watching. I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat it so you have a warm, fuzzy feeling inside of your belly. That don't fly with me. I'm not into bullshit like that. I'm into telling you the honest to God's truth. And the truth is Justin Fields has a significant issue processing the game. Period. That is the truth. It's the truth when you turn on the tape, and that's it. Now, does he have things that give him maybe a leg up in this competition? Absolutely. He's a superior athlete. I've said that a million times before. But what is the thing that makes an NFL quarterback great, Mark Collins? What makes an NFL quarterback great? Processing the defenses, understanding anticipation, being able to throw the wide receiver open, understanding how to check in and out of plays, understanding where to go with the football immediately when there's pressures and things of that nature that's breathing down your neck, understanding the defense completely. And if you can't process the defense, you're not going to be a good quarterback at the NFL level. It's just what it is. And I don't care how athletic you are, and name me one run-first quarterback that has ever won a Super Bowl title. You can't do it because I know you can't. There has been no run-first type quarterback. I've had people bring up players like Doug Williams saying he was a run-first guy when he was back in the day for the Redskins. Bullshit. Doug Williams could throw the football all over the damn yard. He threw the ball before anything, and he could process defenses at a significant level. So, yeah, there has been none. And you're going to continue to be okay with, I'm down. I just want a quarterback that's another running back. I don't want that. That's not what the position is. That's not what wins you championships, man. And that's just the facts. And I'm going to tell the truth, whether it hurts your feelings or doesn't, because I'm not the feelings police. Danny George, that was a real bad showing for the Steelers. Very sad. Absolutely, Danny. It was a rough one to look at. Rob Lightfoot, 3-0 last preseason. I'm fine with where we're at right now. We'll be fine with our light schedule up until the open date. I think it's every game's tough in the NFL because I think everybody's good. But I think you're right. I think it is a little bit lighter of a schedule until you hit that back half. And I think you're absolutely right with where you comment and say 3-0 last preseason. And yeah, if you look at Tomlin's record, when he's had winning preseasons, winning preseasons, this team doesn't win shit. It's just history repeats itself. I didn't make it up. It just happens. But when this team typically doesn't do that hot inside of the preseason, Mike Tomlin's managed to get, a playoff win, which has become very, very rare in almost a decade, not seeing one in the city of Pittsburgh. You look at Mike Tomlin's overall record inside of the playoffs, 8-10, and I know that's hard for other people to for them to hear. And whenever I say that becomes a sore spot with people. But the record is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat Mike Tomlin's record either. The statistics are the statistics. I can't make it up. He's got to do better. And 8-10's tough. Tough pill to swallow if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, considering someone that runs around talking about the standard is the standard. Well, if the standard's 8-10 in the playoffs, and that's your entirety of your playoff life in your almost 2-decade career, and you haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade, I think there's an issue somewhere. I mean, there's a problem somewhere. It is what it is, man. All right, guys, we're about 26 minutes in. Make sure you're smashing the shit out of that like button for us here on our daily live stream we like to call Steel City Live. I'm your host, Jason, and we're here only on Mike Drop Sports. So spread the channel. Spread around to your friends. Let them know. We're going to talk the truth, man. Gabby, I know this isn't football, but did you watch the Pirates game yesterday? Gabby, I've given up on the Pirates yet again, man. I've been a very dedicated fan to the Pirates for a very long time, and I've just given up. It's a tough thing, man. I've put a lot of money and time into the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I can't do it much longer. I wish they'd just sell the damn team at this point. It's that bad. Robert Road. We have seen so little from Russ, and that I am in no way putting Fields ahead of Wilson. Yeah, that's another thing, Russ. That's why I want to see the beginning part of that football game, maybe even the first half, led by Russell Wilson. We have to see something. And if you're Mike Tomlin, I don't know how you're comfortable going into the regular season without having a real definitive answer in the form of game tape. I'm sorry. I just don't know how you do that. Russell Wilson missed a significant period of time up at Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I just feel like that you haven't seen enough. Exactly what you say there. You haven't seen enough of Russell Wilson in order for you to be comfortable with what he has done or what he hasn't done. And it's a big issue. And I'm not willing to put Fields ahead of Russ just yet either, because again, we haven't seen enough of Russ, and Fields still has major deficiencies that he has put on tape here this preseason. So it is what it is. Wave those towels. Appreciate it. There it is. It's Tomlin. Mark Malone. Danny George. This time slot is really good. Yeah, Danny, 6:30 I would try to be during the times when I don't have football practice for my kids. I can do that, like Mondays and Fridays. I'm going to start doing it at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I have practice till 8 p.m. And so we'll have the late show on those days. We do not have wide receiver to run routes and get open, including Pickens. Facts. That doesn't help either quarterback. If the double Pickens they have to get open. Dylan Cook should be. Do you read to yourself, bro? I'm not trying to be a douche to you, but you got to put something in there legible, because I can't decipher that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'll try to, and I'm not trying to dog you, Mark, at all. Not at all, buddy. It's not like in any way, shape, or form am I trying to beat you down. But if you want me to answer your questions, you got to say it in a form or type it in a form that I can understand. But I'll try to answer it. Wide receiver play has been subpar. But if you look at what they're doing, they're not really running any type of real scheme, any type of real significant scheme in terms of plays and routes run and route trees. You're not getting to see a real Arthur Smith offense here in the preseason, so that has the problem with it, or has some issue with it. And the offensive line, yes, you have to block, man, and you have to be able to give these guys more than 2 seconds to throw the football. But when you get past the 3, 4, 5 second mark, it's unrealistic to expect the line to hold much longer than that going against these guys that are superior athletes. Hey guys, hold on 1 second. The alarm is going off. All right, sorry everybody. I had my home alarm went off, and I wasn't down to let it go off without checking it. All right, Kevin Schroyer, I feel Terrell Austin is a bum. I hated that we extended him. His only scheme is TJ to cause pressure. When TJ ain't playing nor getting pressure, we are trash on D. That's the one other thing, Kevin, that's really tough for me to dissect as a whole, because I know in the preseason it's going to be very vanilla. I can't argue with you that there has been major deficiencies. However, I will give them the fact that there was major injury last year. I'll give them that. But yeah, uh, it's hard to tell about Terrell, man. I'm going to need to see until like week 5 before I give a real judgment on him for this year and see if he can fix any of these things. And we'll see if people can be healthy too. Bustin Fields. Oh, okay. You're talking. Okay, I get you now, bro. Okay. I got you. I got you. I didn't know Bustin was Justin, dude. I learned something new every day. I wouldn't trade 2 quarterbacks though for Mason Rudolph. I think that would be a major mistake. Why trade Russ? Honestly, he's the cheapest option that you can get right now, and he has won a Super Bowl, and I'd be more comfortable with him being a backup as opposed to anybody else, no doubt about it, if I have to put him as a backup, you know. Steve Pickering, does everyone still think it was a good idea spending no money on offense? Um, I think they're trying to spend money, but just to go out and spend money just for the namesake of spending money doesn't mean that it's going to be a good deal. I still think that you have to make sure that it's a logical decision, a decision in which is going to fit your offensive scheme, that's going to have an effect on your win-loss record, you know? And if you haven't found that and you haven't seen that type of player, there's no sense in spending the money. Just my theory. And just because a player is out on the market, and just because we as a fan like that player, doesn't necessarily mean that when you're creating your offensive scheme that you feel that that player would be able to contribute at a high level to your scheme. There are certain players you're looking for when you're talking about your offense. And I think that that's part of the issue too, when they don't go after some of these people. And there's other options or other things that come into play with that. Some of these guys getting monster inflated salaries well above their value. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, did you have that kind of tremendous amounts of cap space this offseason? No, you had some, but you didn't have a tremendous amount to where you could go out and afford to make some foolish type of deal. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they shouldn't have spent more, because I think they should. I think you're right to an extent, but I think there's a point of this that, you know, sometimes you can make some stupid moves, you know, and that's where I think that they're at right now with it. And I think they were trying to figure out, you know, like a Brandon Ayuk trade, something like that. But they're not going to do it in a stupid way. They're not going to give up so much and turn this football team into something that they don't want it to be. And I understand we haven't had a playoff win, you know, in a very long time, since 2016. And I understand the mediocrity, but I still think you don't jeopardize your future just for the namesake of signing somebody. You know what I mean? Kevin Shorter, Mark Collins got that Green County reading level. Something, bro. Thanks, Dave. D, question: if you are the Titans, would you trade Rudolph for Fields or Wilson? I wouldn't. And I say that because here's the thing you're at in the portion of the preseason that you're at right now. If you're willing to move on from guys that have the big name, you know, the Titans aren't stupid. They're going to know that you're getting damaged goods. You're getting goods that the Steelers don't want. They're not going to make that type of move. They would need to have some significant injury somewhere other than quarterback and really be highly confident in Will Levis that he's going to be their guy no matter what for the duration of the season, barring injury. And the Tennessee Titans would have to have some sort of major deficiency somewhere where the Steelers would be that team that had that player that they're looking for, an excess for that position, and that's the only way you would be able to make a trade of that kind of caliber with Tennessee. I'm assuming. He is not a true Steeler, man. Yes, sir. Preach. Mark Malone. Remember Cordell years? I remember Cordell, but Cordell Stewart could pass from the pocket, and Cordell Stewart never won a championship either. That's just reality. But I do remember Cordell years. I value Cordell. But you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Cordell or anyone like him. Douglas Ball, preach, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Brent, what's up, dude? What's up, Brent? Matt Burton, great QBs equal Brady, Manning, Montana, average, above average QBs equal Jackson, Vick, Kaepernick. You're not wrong. None of the names that you listed below have ever won championships. I mean, it's just what it boils down to, guys. It's the reality. It's the reality in which we live. There got to be a certain way you play quarterback at the NFL level in order to be good. Look at Patrick Mahomes, a guy that can get you yards with his legs if need be. He can escape and make moves and make plays with his legs and get out of the pocket to throw the football downfield. But what is he looking to do every time he drops back to pass? Every time. It's not to run. It's to throw the ball down the field and push open wide receivers with his intent, with his anticipation and his ability to process defenses to know where defenders are going to be. That's what he does, period. That's how you win ball games. That's how you're great as quarterback in the NFL. And that's just my opinion. And I'm not just making this shit up. It's what I've seen for, many years of my life of how you got to win, man. And it's a real easy recipe and a real easy formula. And a lot of people want to outsmart themselves by creating super complex situations and schemes and all this shit. Sometimes you just need to get back to the fundamentals and the basics of football in order to just be good. Wilson will play well the next game, and we will all breathe easy. Too early to panic. Yeah, you can't hit the panic button yet. I totally agree about that. There is no way, shape, or form that we should be hitting the panic button, and there's no way, shape, or form that we should be anointing this team too early. And I think we all learned a valuable lesson last offseason in 2023, that believing and putting all your chips into a certain narrative is not the right way to go. Allow it to play out. Rich Kuzma. Then why do teams draft or trade for these types of quarterbacks? Then tell them not to run. Taking 50% of their game from them is stupid. I'm not saying you take their game from them, Rich. That's not exactly what I'm saying. You gotta process, man. And what I'm saying is you can't be a run first guy. Nobody's saying to them, don't run. Nobody's saying to them, you can't ever run. That's not what you're saying. What you're saying to them is think first to pass the ball, anticipate receivers, throw them open, process the defense, understand that passing the football first and facilitating the football to your playmakers is what wins ball games. Use your legs as what? That X factor, that weapon that you can use in the moments that you have nothing else, that make you special. That's what would make you special with the run game. Not just sitting back there and you get to read one and it's not open and you tuck the football and run. That's juvenile. That's elementary. That's so basic. That's Friday night football, bro. And I mean, people getting these like little, what do you call them, where they're all, they're monkey see, monkey do. Somebody says, oh, this is what we got to have, a running back at quarterback. That's what works. That's what wins games. And everybody else follows. It's just not the way it needs to be. It's just my opinion. Again, I think you have to be a guy that can do it all. I get that. I think that has to be your main concern. Well-rounded game, but you got to be able to be a pass-first guy, man, to win championships. And you can't sit here and say that anybody that is a run-first guy that has won titles. There's nobody you can list. I mean, I don't know of anybody, if there's somebody you can list that hasn't been a great pocket passer, that had legs, that, wasn't highly effective inside of the pocket, and just was, only really good at hitting first read throws and running the football. That's won titles. I mean, challenge you, because I don't know who that person is. I've never heard them or heard of them. Wild Herb Ways. Why is the offensive line mismanaged? Kendrick Green, Kevin Dotson, dump Mason Cole, drafted number 1 with bad knees, Faitanu, broken leg, Zach Frazier, musical chairs, Broderick Jones. Steelers lately seem weird. I think Zach Frazier, that was only his one real injury, and he overcame that, and I think he's proving to the Steelers and to everybody else that he has probably the best intangibles of him out of any center that came out of the 2024 draft, in my opinion. Zach Frazier, in my eyes, was the best center, above guys like Jackson Powers Johnson, whom have way bigger injury histories than a guy like Zach Frazier, that I only know of one significant injury for him, and, he was able to overcome that. And I think he's showing that every day, that he's the answer, the right answer. And I'm not concerned about him. I do think that you've seen some mismanagement here with Dotson. Dotson leaves. He ends up being a guy that's like all pro caliber. That was gross mismanagement, man. There's several instances here to where I think the common denominator ends up being the last 2 years a guy like Pat Meyer, and whether people want to look at that or not, that seems to be what the X factor is. If somebody can be in this same system and leave and go somewhere else and shine, and then you see other players of the same pedigree come back into the Steelers fold and still not do well, and it just becomes a continual theme, I think there's an issue, and you have to trace it back to the common denominator, and sometimes that is the coach, and it is what it is. Brent, the stats are the stats. That's a Tomlin motivation if I ever heard one. A Tomlin motivation. Stats are the stats. Tomlin probably don't look at the stats very often when you're 8-10 in the playoffs. Tom Ford, what's up? I'm here at work, just waiting on a patient at MRI. Oh, nice, Tom. Awesome, bro. Hope you have a nice night at work, man. Matt, I feel bad for the Steelers with these two quarterbacks. Yeah, I think it could. It's a 50-50 thing for me, man. I don't know. I'm still, the verdict's still out for me. I haven't fully been sold on either one of them, so I'm gonna have to kind of continue to watch it and continue to watch it unfold. But again, I think they both have issues. I think they both have deficiencies. It's just which is going to be the lesser of two evils and fit inside of the Arthur Smith system the best. Are you willing to try to let Justin Fields grow and learn how to be an NFL pro quarterback on your dime? I don't know. Are you willing to continue to make the wrong choices and waste careers of like guys like TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, those types of guys that deserve to be on a championship football team, but never have an offense to go along with that defense? So yeah, an offense that leaves the defense out to dry every damn week, and they're out there for an exuberant amount of minutes every single week, and it takes its toll after a time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the offensive line is going to be a major issue. We'll see how that goes, if that all starts to magically fix itself here before the season or what. Brent, Russo is a beast, by the way. We need him to stay healthy. He's the player that when he's 100%, he's making negative yard tackles each series. If he plays at 80%, it's like he's not even on the field. Russo's a monster, absolute monster. Anybody would be lucky to have a guy like Russo on the field. He's a true beast, and the Buffalo Bills are absolutely lucky to have him. And he is a guy that is a guy that can get out there and make significant tackles for loss constantly on a consistent basis, man. And if something happens to him, that's a heavy burden, man, for the Buffalo Bills. Joseph Donovan. I didn't like the hire of Pat Meyer when it happened. There's a reason why the Carolina Panthers canned him. Our O-line has been in shambles ever since. The writing's on the wall, Joseph, and I can't disagree with you at all. And I know coaches get fired all the time and picked up by other teams and go on to have success. But in this case, it just hasn't worked out so far. All right, guys, I'm going to get a drink. Make sure you juice up that like button number and get us cranking along here on Steel City Live, only on Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. As always, I appreciate your support and appreciate you coming to watch the live show. Man, a name earlier, Rich Kuzma. Do you have a podcast, Rich? Your name sounds familiar. At least Justin can run his butt off. I'll give you that, Matt. He can. Russell sucks, sorry to say. It's pretty bad. I'm shaking my head. That's Miss Pittsburgh. Wave that towel for Miss Pittsburgh. Appreciate it. Douglas Ball, I've been with the black and gold since 1974. Good times and lean times and never wavered. Going to be a good year, however it pans out. Start Russ, I think we'll be okay. I will always, guys, let me get this out of the way. And I know a lot of Steeler fans act like this, and I'm not saying Douglas is. What his comment just brought this to my mind. It's not like a knock on Douglas at all. But what he brought to light for me is a lot of Steeler fans go at people that do things like this, like I do here, this live show, this podcast, and they go in hard. If you don't agree with every move the Pittsburgh Steelers make, and you aren't, super excited for everything they do, and you talk negatively about certain things that they do, they act like you lose your fan card. Well, that's not the case, and I don't want fans to think that. I want this place here, Mike Drop Sports, the live shows, I want this to be the place to where you come as a fan, and you're able to sound off about those things and have your voice heard. And you can say things that are wrong. You can have opinions. You don't have to agree with everything the Steelers do to be a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You don't have to be okay with being mediocre. You don't have to be okay with the standard being shit. You don't have to be okay with that. And you can still be a fan. Just to let you know, and I just wanted to get it out of the way. That wasn't anything about Douglas's comment. Hey, I agree. I've been a fan of this football team for many years. I'm not going to stop being a fan of the football team. Basically all my life, I've been a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm not going to stop that just because they suck. But I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try to spin a narrative that isn't true to make the football team look better, to never bash my Pittsburgh Steelers. No, I'm a realist, and I'm going to tell it how it is. Rob Lightfoot, I just wanted to say that I can't help but to like Mark Robinson's tough play. I don't know if he makes the 53-man roster. I think, Rob, that's another interesting player on this football team. I have been liking some of his play, but however, when you start to get into that regular season, I think Mark Rob's deficiencies start to shine through, and that is not being good in pass coverage. I think he is able to play the run and be good at it. I really, really do. I think that he can shine at times. Is he perfect in the run game? No. But he has major deficiencies inside of the pass game usually. And I think that's what slows him down and pulls him back and really starts to bring him back down to reality, Yeah, Dave, I'll go, man. John Broadway, what's up? Hey, Jason, shuffling these O-line guys seems to be a bigger priority before moving on. Yeah, guys, here, and we say it here all the time, and everybody can talk about all these wide receivers. Everybody can talk about the quarterback and all these amazing things and all the shiny new toys and what could be or what couldn't be. But the reality of the whole damn situation is this. If you don't have an offensive line in place and you don't have quality or serviceable, good offensive line play, your team goes nowhere, period. There ain't no other discussions that you should be having because you're not going to do shit. You're not going to have a run game. You're not going to have a pass game of anything to speak of. That's reality. That's the truth. We can sit here and talk about Brandon Ayuk this, George Pickens that, Russell Wilson this, Justin Fields that. None of it matters if the offensive line isn't decent, man. None of it matters. Matt, watching this Bears Hard Knocks, and they look like they might be better without Justin Fields. Yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment because I still feel like Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. I know people are going bananas over his highlight reel stuff here in the preseason, but I caution you, it's the preseason, and everybody thought Kenny Pickett was a god last year when he touched the football and made so many great plays inside of the preseason, highly efficient. Touched every time he touched the ball, they scored. Just looked phenomenal and lights out, and there he showed his true colors throughout the regular season. And I think once you start to see Caleb Williams up against real NFL talent at a real high level where defenses are actually scheming against you and the complexity of the defenses actually starts to rise, I think then your true colors start to show. Do I think the Bears will be better? Absolutely, I do. But I think that that's just because of the collection of players that they have all over the roster. I think one thing might hold them back, and I think that that might be the inconsistency of play from a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. Fabio, hey dude, what about Josh Allen at QB? Russell Wilson and Fields are who they are, not good quarterbacks, throwaways. The only quarterback who is able to move this offense is Allen, and he does it too. It's not the O-line or wide receiver. We have no shot at getting a guy like Josh Allen, so I can't even think in that, realm. You know what I mean, Fabio? I just can't think about it because I know it wouldn't happen. So it boils down, though, to the offensive line, in my opinion. I think that that's where it all starts. That's where football's won and lost, is inside of the trenches. And without those guys pulling the weight in the trenches and doing the dirty work, none of the things move. None of the things go. You can have all the elaborate schemes you want to have, but if it's not going to be, nothing's going to be effective without those guys in the trenches. I think the Bears, the Lions is going to be a big-ass threat, and I hate to say Baltimore is too. That's from Miss Pittsburgh. Yeah, Baltimore will be their normal self, regular season champs, man. Everybody will be picking them to do things in the playoffs, and then they'll go get their ass swatted by Patrick Mahomes, a real quarterback. John Broadway, do you think that Frazier is having a decent camp, and is he going to be starting come regular season? I think there's no choice now, really. I think it's Zach Frazier or nothing else. I don't know who else that they could start, but I think all around it, as a whole body of work so far in the offseason, I think Zach Frazier's proven to be who we thought he was going to be, and that is the best center to come out of the 2024 draft. The Big 12 product has been nothing short of amazing in my eyes. I think he does what he needs to do, and I think he's consistent, and I'm very, very proud and happy that the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to get him. Daniel Warman, hi Jason. Do you think Mike Tomlin is getting frustrated because of the offense? Mike Tomlin, defensive-minded coach. That's what he's always been. That's what he'll always be. Yes, probably frustrated because of the offense, but he's to blame for some of that frustration. Mismanagement last season of the offense when your team is in a losing skid and you continue to will out a guy in Mitchell Trubisky, whom you've seen far before that time, have inadequate play and not be able to step up to the plate and do the things that were necessary to win, and continue to will him out there week in and week out and take losses and leave Mason Rudolph sit on the bench without even giving him a try. And you're seeing Mason Rudolph every day in practice. You're seeing what he has developed into. And it's a sad time if you've not been able to recognize that he was able to run that offense a little bit better, and that Mitchell Trubisky was a failed disaster of an experiment. You saw his performance against the Steelers when he came in the preseason game. It was subpar, stale, and shitty. Danny George told my wife Nick Herbig would get 2 sacks, but very close, sack and a half. Yeah, man, Nick's a beast, man. Nick's a beast. We have taken that away from this preseason so far, that Nick Herbig is going to be able to do some special things, guys. And again, last year, I made a show last year to be on the watch, be on the lookout for Nick Herbig, because I thought that he is going to be a potential star in this league, and I still stand behind that, and I think eventually he will make Alex Highsmith expendable. Challenger 16, I said the Ayuk trade was a pipe dream, sick of media hyping it up. Yeah, man, not this media. John David Crawford. I don't think Ayuk will wear the black and gold. Who might be more reasonable to acquire? Wish Cortland Sutton would be available, reliable and affordable. I think you're looking along the lines of a guy like that guy down in Texans, Justin Menchie, I think is how you pronounce his name. I think somebody along those lines, a player like that. Would be somebody that you would probably eye if you weren't able to secure anybody of a higher caliber. Brent, shout out to Anderson, undrafted Buffalo native. Oh, cool, man. I always like those stories, Brent. Those are always cool. Daniel Warman, Pittsburgh is known for having Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I say give them a chance. Thank you, sir. Yeah, well, two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They just played a little bit longer and did some damage. Other than that, nobody I feel like, Hall of Fame status. But yeah, they've got a couple. They've had a couple. And that's how you get your success, man. You got to find that franchise guy. T. Rilla. Oh, there he is. Go Browns. Here we go. Steelers. Brent Slash was very uncoachable. Wave your terrible towel from his Pittsburgh. Kevin Schroeder, the best wide receiver option, is we're trying to trade. I'd go after DK. His last 2 years have been down, but with good locker room, he'd be back to having fun and thrive, and he's only 26. I thought DK was a realistic option. Many think that it wouldn't be wise and something that even the Seahawks would even entertain. You've heard some so-called insiders is what they like to say. You've heard those guys, say that DK was a possibility. I thought that he was a possibility. I thought that it was something that could be a reality. It's not been so far, but that's not saying something like that couldn't happen. I wouldn't mind having DK on the football team. I think what you're trying to do with the wide receiver room, guys, is create versatility and create an atmosphere in which every wide receiver just does something a little bit different, has a little bit better skill set at one particular thing to cover all the deficiencies, to cover all the bases. That's just what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have different guys all across the board in a skill position, such as the wide receiver room. That's just what I think I'm looking for. Kevin Shorter, and I feel if we'd get him without trading away too much, I don't know. He's another one with a big contract, but I think he'd have a couple years of control. Daniel Warman, they're a lot better than Johnny Manziel and Flacco. Oh, hell yeah. No doubt about that, Daniel. John Broadway, no, if you don't want to keep Rudolph, then why trade for him? Makes no common sense spending what for who, and this is why Tomlin doesn't have the knowledge to know talent. Yeah, he's suffered for the last couple years. Brent, Daniel Flacco was held up by a monster defense. I could have won that Super Bowl. Yeah, Flacco was the beneficiary of a monster defense, absolutely, as was Ben Roethlisberger at times in his career. Ben was a shining star at times, but if you look at the seasons in which he was able to win championships, he had a monster defense, and that's, you got to be well-rounded, man. Yes, sir. Agree. T-Rilla go Clowns. Kevin Schroyer, the elite quarterbacks that will be talked about for 200 years are pocket guys. Can't argue there, Kevin. Wave your towels for Miss Pittsburgh. Appreciate it. John Broadway, Jason, 1950s was all options and wing three backs, including quarterback. Yeah, I'm talking modern era stuff. I mean, that was a different type of ball game, no doubt about it. And yeah, they definitely were super just run heavy no matter what. But I'm talking about this era of football, you know what I mean? Since probably the 80s, 70s, you know what I mean? It wasn't run first guys. It was, pocket passers. The Brobarian, what's up, Brobarian? Tomlin sucks from Joe Vlogs. Joe Rod goes Steelers, or J Rod goes Steelers. Brent, aside from from Brady and Tampa, last Super Bowls have been won by defense, but half of the final teams have running quarterbacks. Yeah, being there at the end as opposed to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy are far different. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying quarterbacks can't have a running skill and that quarterbacks that win championships don't have the ability to run. I'm saying they're not run first guys. Guys that run first aren't winning championships, and there's a reason for that. is because they can't get the job done. They're not able to move the football effectively. People catch up with the running bullshit eventually. They figure out how to stop it, and you got to be able to pass from the pocket and be able to deliver in the big moments. And you have to do those things. You have to be able to do those things. They never played Dotson at his natural position. He goes to the Rams at his natural position and balls out. Some guys can't do both sides. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know why that is the way that is, but it is. David Strout felt worse with Pickett. It did feel worse with Pickett. Miss Pittsburgh, let's go, people. Hit the like button and share both to the best show in town. Appreciate that. Spider Holder, quarterback, needs to put it together. The Brobarian, I am definitely sold on Wilson, and I believe this preseason is nothing more than evaluation to get down the 53-man roster. Well, yeah, no doubt, Brobarian. I agree with you. It is to whittle it down, to figure out who's going to be on your 53. No doubt about that. But you have to see a little bit, to be comfortable with two guys that you've never had inside of the building in a brand new offensive system. It is a very shaky ground to walk whenever you enter week one and you have no real tape to see, no real competition against your offense, and tape showing you succeeding at least a little bit. Kevin Schroyer, James Harrison said in an interview before that TJ has moves he does not left on the left side. He can't do from the right. I'm not sure which moves. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard that too. No game planning at all when it comes to preseason, just evaluation. Yeah, and that's why I always say don't get overhyped about the preseason. Don't get too high, don't get too low, but you have to be a realist. You have to give your opinion. You have to point out the deficiencies, things of that nature. Daniel Warman, Brandon Ayuk looks like Mike Tomlin's son. They look like twins. I put a short out about that. It's got a lot of views, I think. Challenger 16, hard to evaluate these quarterbacks based on the horrible performance of the offensive line. That's true, too. That's part of it. Mikey Reed, I agree, except Cam. He played with the Killer Bees. It was defense during that run. Yeah, Cam deserves a Super Bowl, though. They've had some missed opportunities. Daniel Warman, I could only do one Tomlin. Ayuk looks way too much like Tomlin. I hate the Niners, but they're a great team. They are, no doubt. Brent, are the Steelers fans capable of waiting for a raw quarterback to progress? I'm not bashing anyone here. I just hear get this guy, get that guy, best quarterbacks sit for a year. That is the truth, Brent. And if that's the route that they're going to go, you have to be patient and you have to allow them at least to have a couple seasons. And everybody isn't going to be a Ben Roethlisberger and come in and go 15-1. Everybody isn't going to have that elite defense to lean on as soon as they come in. Every situation is going to be different, and you got to give them a little bit of time, and you have to have a little bit of patience if that's the route you want to go. No doubt about it. Thank you, Miss Pittsburgh. Appreciate it. All right, guys, we've been going for about 62 minutes. I appreciate the lively chat tonight. It's been absolutely awesome, no doubt about it. I appreciate it. Good to see you on there. TD, member of the Mic Drop Mafia for 3 months. Miss Pittsburgh, member of the Mic Drop Mafia for 5 months. It was spitting some of those out at me here. Some of them people. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to start wrapping it up, man. If I missed your comment, I apologize. Hold on, I'm trying to go through here. All right, guys. Yeah, if I missed your comment, I apologize. I am going to do our drawing, and that is going to be for the Super Bowl 40 plaque out of my own collection, man. Nice, huh? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Super Bowl 40. So that's what that'll be. And if you win, you'll have to email. All right, there we go. We froze a minute. But if you win and you're not watching now, you can watch later and find out if you win. But you need to email me at micdropsports@yahoo.com. And I will get your address and I will send it out, or we'll figure something out. We'll figure a way to get it to you one way or another. So let's do it, man. We got tons of people in the Mafia, man. We're up to like almost 60 people. So everybody's name's on a piece of paper. Everybody's name's in on a piece of paper. So I'm going to pick somebody out. Boom, boom. And who will it be? Who is that? Hey! Danny George. Awesome, Danny George. You're the winner, bro. Awesome, my man. You are the winner. Awesome, dude. Danny, you don't live far from me. We can meet up and I'll give it to you. Awesome. Danny George, if you're watching, bro, you win, bro. You won the 99-cent Mic Drop Mafia giveaway each month. So, guys, if you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel, but you can become a paid member. It's 99 cents a month. It'll always be 99 cents a month. You'll get some member exclusive content during the season. You'll get emojis and all your little badges and all that kind of stuff that shows that you are part of the Mafia. And right now, we have it set to where you get the 5K badge. It shows that you are a part of the original 5,000 Mic Drop Mafia, Mic Drop Sports subscribers, the original 5,000. So, yeah, Danny George, you the man, dude. Danny George, a guy from West Virginia, man. Thanks, Blaze Media. Appreciate it, man. Again, guys, sorry if I missed your comment, man. I've been going a while. It's been a long go. I gotta get off here, man. Over an hour, I start to get bogged down. But yeah, dude. Appreciate it. Danny George, you the man. You won. Congratulations to him. And I'm sure I'll see you in the chat so I can tell you here if you're not listening now, if you jumped off. But I know you were on there earlier. So, again, congratulations to Danny. Hey, awesome, dude. Danny, there you are. You win, Danny. We'll link up, bro. We'll figure it out. You can email me, man, at micdropsports@yahoo.com. We'll figure it out and get it to you, buddy. All right, dudes and dudettes, appreciate y'all for stopping through, man. Thanks for making it a great show. The chat was lively. It was slamming. We had, got our numbers going again, as we normally do here in this time slot. So I appreciate that. We get a lot of concurrent viewers, so it's a good conversation. We even had a guy on here that I know damn well runs a podcast, but didn't say anything back after that. Said a comment, but didn't say anything back. That's all right, buddy. That's all right. You ever want to come on, I'll let you come on and you can have a discussion about running quarterbacks if you want, Rich Kuzma. All right, man. Anytime you're willing to do that, you let me know. You can email me at micdropsports@yahoo.com, and I'd love to debate you about the running quarterback position. So anytime you wish to do that, you're welcome to it. So until tomorrow, man, we'll have our morning upload. I haven't been doing them on Mondays. Especially this Monday, I was like super furious. I wanted to wait until we did the show because I had so many things to say. So I just waited for the live. But tomorrow we'll have our daily upload and we'll continue to push toward preseason game 3 and continue to talk news around the NFL and all that good shit. So until then, I'm Jason. This is Mic Drop Sports. Peace.